you're a big jack dude.
Thank
You've
you.
deadlifted over 800 pounds. You've squatted over 700 pounds, but you're also ridiculously flexible.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
What do you say to coaches who mock flexibility training and say it's unnecessary or even detrimental to strength?
Yeah, I think so. The biggest mental change for me, because I didn't used to come down on it like that, but there was some fear in the back of my head of like, I would like to be more flexible, but what if I start doing that and then, my squat and deadlift goes down or whatever? And just because it's what you hear online.
Yeah. So it's what we've been told.
Right, exactly. And so eventually, once I started doing that big jiu-jitsu competition or prepping for it, that's when I kind of let go. I was like, you know what? I don't really care what I squat or deadlift anymore. I'm just going to work on being a really good athlete. And then during that prep, did a lot of jiu-jitsu, obviously, but then I started working on a lot more of my mobility stuff. And a lot of it stemmed from what Ben Patrick was doing at the time, because I really like Ben Patrick because the stuff that he puts out is very, very easy to digest and very simple. And if you just stuck to the handful of things that he says, you'll be on a really good path to gain mobility and build some durability in your joints and build some athleticism. And it's really good stuff. Since then, I've added a handful of things, but that was a really good baseline for me to start, because before that, I was like, I'm not really sure how to get more flexible. Like it seems kind of complicated, like all those different stretches that you have to do or the different. And then when Ben Patrick came around, I'm like, okay, wait, so you're just like lifting, but like stretching at the same time. Like, okay, so this is kind of like fun then. It's like lifting, right? And the biggest mental switch for me was understanding that flexibility training, or as I would rather call it, mobility training, is literally just strength training with maybe a slightly different intent, but the goal is to still get stronger.
Yes.
So if you're getting stronger in a bench press, you see your numbers go up. But if I'm getting stronger in like a middle split hold, then you might see your legs go out a little bit more, and you can maybe hold a little bit more weight in your hands as you do that. But ultimately, you're just getting stronger. And then I heard the concept of just equating tightness that you feel in your body to weakness. So if you're in the middle splits and at a certain point you start to feel really, really tight in your groin or your hips, yes, it's tightness, but ultimately it's just weakness.
It's weak.
And the answer to weakness is just getting stronger. So then to the point of like, what would I say to coaches that say that, it's detrimental to strength training? I'm like, well, how can strength training be detrimental to strength training? It just doesn't make any sense. Maybe if you're solely doing a flexibility routine with no strength training on top of it, in general, you might get weaker because you're not strength training how you should to express your strength better. But I don't know if that's a direct output of doing stretches. But when you're doing mobility and you're loading these movements and you're doing these isometric holds and you're contracting your muscles through these long ranges of motion, there's no reason why your other lifts should get weaker so long as you're continuing to progress those lifts.
Yep.
My deadlift is lower than it has been in a long time simply because I don't deadlift anymore, not because I do more mobility.
Right.
But in a different respect, there's a lot of exercises that I'm stronger now in than I was when I was deadlifting 800 pounds. So it's kind of like perspective of what you deem strength to be. And sometimes in the normal world, we think of strength as how much can you bench or how much can you deadlift, because that's almost the most universally found language in regards to what strength is in a gym to your average person. But strength can be, what do your splits look like? How much weight can you hold in your splits? What's your cardio look like? Strength has so many different definitions. And so to me, I don't know if you know Mark Bell.
Of course, I've been on his podcast.
Okay,
I love
gotcha.
Mark.
That's what I thought. So Mark's a good friend of ours, and the way he says it is the most easy way to articulate it, which is strength is never a weakness. Weakness is never a strength.
Yes.
And that's what it comes down to when it comes to really, really that. It's just, if you're getting stronger, it doesn't matter how you're getting stronger. If you're not getting weak, then you're set.
I think that the concept of, if you feel that tightness, thinking of it as weakness is one of the most important and powerful things people can realize. And there are times in which muscle tissue can be like stiff legitimately, especially if there's scar tissue or something. There can be real issues there. But for the vast majority of people, the thing that really made me reconsider the actual tightness, stiffness side of it was if someone dies or when someone dies, before rigor mortis sets in, like, bro, they're loosey-goosey.
Right.
Like, you can move their limbs in ways that you could never do when they were alive. And nothing's changed except for now their brain isn't sending signals to their muscles, which means if their muscles were actually tight, then you wouldn't be able to move that person's muscles even after they die. It's a weakness thing, and your brain saying, I'm scared to go here because I'm not strong enough to support myself here, and if I do, I'm going to get injured.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on. So it's I think the most accurate way to explain it is you're weak, and your brain is scared to let you go to that range, which goes to if you don't use it, you lose it. So in order to build up the ability to use that range again, you have to show your brain, oh, not only am I safe, but I'm strong enough to be in this position.